Hey y'all, welcome to episode 209 of the Let's Netflix and Chill podcast. Today I have the privilege of reviewing a Netflix show called Ransom Canyon. And I have to say, it's one of a kind. It's interesting. If you are vaguely interested in watching a Western, I think this is for you. If you're into romance, high stakes drama, power struggle, that's leaving you at the edge of your seat at most, betrayal, love, land wars, that sort of stuff, I think this is the show for you. Now let's break it down. Let me break it down for you. Ransom Canyon has about 10 episodes, averaging about 50 odd minutes each. It's a very interesting show. I recommend this to anyone. Imagine this for a second. Imagine a rancher with a past that never really gets buried. And every relationship that he's in, it just teeters on the edge of love or war. Does that sound good? I think it does. So I sat down and indulged myself into it, and I found a story that had love, betrayal, and of course, like I already said, land wars. And at the heart of the story, it follows this rancher called Staten Kirkland. He's a rancher who's haunted by his past. This guy has one bad day after another. A man really fighting with his past at the edge, barely holding on to his legacy. He's got a whole bunch of people, his family members, neighboring ranchers that are fighting him for land. There's this company called Austin Water Pumping Company or something. I could be wrong with the name. They're trying to build a pipeline through some of the farms and some of the ranches in a way. And there's certain companies or certain ranchers that are against it and certain ranchers that are for it. And basically it's a way of the government and this company to force people off their land. And my man Staten is like one of the last standing people. He's against it. And then his brother-in-law, in a way, Davis, is hell-bent on making him sell a part of his land, giving out rights for this company to dig through his land and put water pipes through it. Big corporation coming to develop a rural area full of farmers. Seems like a great idea. But with this story, it's not. Now, let's focus less on that dramatic edge to it. Let's focus on Staten for a sec. Staten is a man who lost his son. Okay, he lost his wife first. Then he lost his son. Now, how he lost his son is very questionable. Yes, his son got into a car accident and died. A part of me blames his uncle, who happens to be Davis. Where do you get the balls? We need to talk about this. If my child, this is her birthday, this is my child's birthday, male or female, doesn't really matter about gender. You're their uncle or their aunt or the grandmother, I don't really care. If you're going to buy them an excessive gift, a gift of great value, a gift of great magnitude, like a fucking car, I think you should have a conversation with me. It's disrespectful for you to host a party at your house when we've held parties, we've had traditions with my son at our house for the longest time. Granted, you've got more money apparently. Great for you. And you buy my son a car. My son calls me a jerk because I'm not buying him fancy shit because I tell him to return the car. Like, what kind of gift is a car? That's excessive. And my son dies in that car. Yes, you were trying to do something nice for my son, but I'd fucking hate your guts. I'd probably come shoot you down. But that's just me being me, and that probably has nothing to do with you. So, anyway, that's another story or layer of him, of Staten. Now, bear in mind I said his wife died, and his wife's best friend, Quinn O'Grady, I think that's her name, is a woman torn between trust and survival. She and Staten sort of have some sort of history, like I said, and it really cuts deep. She's back in town. And the question becomes, she was back in town to help Staten nurse his wife, who passed away. And she stayed derailing her music or arts. She's a piano player, apparently, one of the best. Derailing her career. So her career is at a standstill. She's in this town, hoping, praying for this man to finally look her way. Wow. And then when you listen or watch the show further and further, you find out that he feels the same way about her. They feel the same way about each other, but they're just beating around the bush. She's giving him signs. He's not taking them. He's being an ass sometimes. Granted, this man lost his wife. And then a year later, fam, lost his son. His son, last moments, the last words his son said to him, the wrong parent died, fam. Believe that. And then your son dies after telling you that shit. You ain't got time for romance. And some companies breathing down your neck about selling your land. Your father's breathing down your neck that he wants you to sell the land because he's bitter because his father, your grandfather, gave you the land instead of him because he saw that you loved the land and his son wanted to sell it off like he's forcing you to sell it off. So it's a really great show. And then when you think about Quinn, she's besides a man that she loves and adores, but he's not giving her the affection or love that she wants when she wants it, when she desires. And then there's this guy Davis, who's giving her the affection, but she's not in love with him. But he's providing a sense of belonging, like I want to be with you. But the man she wants, he's not doing that. So she's torn between what she wants and what she possibly needs. She needs someone who will support her, someone who will love her, and this Davis fella offers that. Staten is the love of her life. She's her soulmate, I guess. But he's not doing soulmatey things. He's just an ass all the time. Granted, he's a broken man, and only probably he can fix her, probably, but who knows. Now, bear in mind, with all these emotions happening, there's Lauren and Lucas. We're still talking about the romance here. There's Lauren and Lucas. Lauren is conflicted. She's with a guy because the narrative looks good. She's into a guy whose father's not appreciating, but you'll find out. I don't want to reveal why her father doesn't like this young man. I think if I do that, it will just fuck up the whole story, so I won't. But Lauren's father hates Lucas's family, basically. Most importantly, he hates Kit, Lucas's brother. We'll talk about that later on. Or I won't, depending. Now, anyway, everyone's battling emotions. Lauren, emotions. Great. Davis's son, emotions. We all get that. But with all these emotional battles, there's a behind-the-scene war. Samuel and Davis are setting a trap. These two guys are not playing fair, fam. They're setting Staten up in a way that they want to get rid of him. They want him. That happens towards the last episode, where a son teams with his son's enemy in order to take his son's business from him so he can make a quick buck. Father of the year, in my opinion. Joke. Okay, now let's look at the show in a bit detail. Not too much that I spoiled. Episode 1, We learn Stan mourns his wife. Quinn returns. Randall, his son. Uh, you know, they got caught in some sort of violent feud that he doesn't see coming because he's like, my son, we got this tradition and all that. Son ends up dying. And then you get this whole journey between episode 2 and episode 9 where it's just Quinn wrestling with love. Am I going with Davis? Am I going with Staten? And then you got Lauren, who suffers a tragedy, like her mother's a drunk. She has a dream of leaving town, ends up getting injured, and that injury derails her dreams. She's torn between following her father's wishes and following her heart. So there's a lot of personal battles and personal growth issues with the show, which makes it a Western. And the thing about it, yes, it's in the countryside. Yes, it's a bunch of ranchers and all that. There are no gunfights. So I should just tell you, you won't see anyone with the 12 gauge. You won't see that. You'll see a lot of horseback riding. You'll see a lot of cattle. You'll see a rodeo. So a lot of great stuff is in there. You will enjoy it. And of course, there is certain characters that build up the story. There's Yancey, who comes in, and he's the final piece of the jigsaw puzzle. His arrival to Ransom Canyon sort of shapes the story. It gives it life. So while you're watching, watch out for him. He's a mystery man, but he holds a lot of keys to the story ending great for everyone. Of course, the show does end on somewhat of a cliffhanger, which gives me the notion that will be a second season. Question is, hopefully Netflix doesn't cancel it, because I'm looking forward to seeing it. Okay, like I said, I didn't want to break this down into a sense where it felt spoiled. But let's look at the character acts for a bit. Staten Kirkland, we know him as a leader. He's a fighting man. He's a man of honor. He's a man that believes in his own legacy, but his legacy is fading because he has no son. He has no one to take over his ranch if he dies. So, in my opinion, getting with Quinn would benefit them if they somehow have a child together. And then you have to look at Quinn, who's conflicted. I mean, like, both Quinn and Staten are conflicted beings that love each other, but I don't know, for some weird reason they don't want to be with each other. I don't know what they're afraid of. And they end up sleeping with people out of circumstance. Sleeping with people because the people that they want are unavailable, either emotionally or at the moment, or rejecting them, and they just sleep with other people and end up hurting other people. No. And the worst part is when you look at Davis, he's involved with a woman that he knows deep down is in love with another man. And he just does it, fam. What kind of sicko does that? I get you trying to, and a part of me feels like Davis is going out with Quinn to spite Staten in a way. And it works in a way. But it's just dumb as fuck. And when you think about Davis being in debt, and you think about, why would you buy someone's son a car if your ranch has financial issues? Why you acting like a rich bum in the beginning, acting all political when you're in debt, fam? No wonder you're forcing people to sell a part of their land so you can make a quick buck. I don't like you, fam. And of course, we talked about Quinn, who's tough, guarded, who's standing at a crossroads. Towards the end, she gets rid of Davis. Now she has an issue to follow her long-lost dreams of becoming a famous pianist, or following a man that she's loved since her tween years. Being with him, or risking it all, basically, for love. She stayed in that town for him. He never saw her. When she's finally almost about to leave, almost finds a new man, he wants her now. He's making actions, which is bullshit. Like, fuck you, nigga, why wait all that long? But I understand. He's a man dealing with a lot of things. So the question now will be, towards the end of the season or the final episode, does she run? Does she run to New York and start a new life as a pianist? Or does she stay, risk her future, her business, at a possibility of being taken by this Austin Waters pumping company because she took an investment, and then when she broke up with someone who sort of spearheaded the investment, the company now wants their money. Question now, what will she choose? Who knows? And then you have Lauren and Lucas, who's a couple with a lot of things. A couple with a lot of Romeo and Juliet vibes. A couple that's messy in a way. I mean, like, Lauren dates two fucking guys. He dates Davis Jr. She dates Davis. I forgot what this guy's name is. Davis' son. He dates him. Breaks up with him. He's a football jockey and what. Dates Lucas. And dates Lucas in private, but publicly dates this other guy. That's messy. That's whorish behavior. So publicly you're dating this guy, but secretly you're dating this guy. And you don't even tell this guy that I'm dating that guy secretively. Y'all broke up, but y'all acting like y'all together, but you're dating him. Messy stuff. And then you find out even her mother is messy like that. It just brings it all together. And then you have to find out, there's a sheriff who has an emotional dilemma, like a moral dilemma. You take someone to jail, or you take your own family member to jail. Do you do your actual police job, or you protect your family? As a father, as a husband, he goes through that turmoil. And then you have Nancy Gray. A mystery man turns into a key player, like I already mentioned. He comes through like he's passing through. He's trying to scheme or steal his grandfather's ranch because his grandfather abandoned him, or not necessarily threw away his mother when she showed up while pregnant, saying, "Your son, sir, got me pregnant, but he's dead now." And this old man was like, "Get out of here. I don't like you." And then regrets it later on, but this kid comes back, works in his grandfather's ranch. His grandfather finds out, throws him out. Old man eventually dies. And since this guy, Yancey, is his next of kin, takes over the ranch. Now, in the beginning of the show, he only wants to take over the ranch so he can sell it for millions. 25 million, I think that was what the number they were throwing around. And disappears to another town. Question now becomes, will he? And then towards the end, he's trying to get engaged to this young lady who, Ellie, if I'm saying the name right, Ellie, trying to get married to her, and then another mystery woman shows up and says she's Yancey's wife. Now the question becomes, is this something Davis did to fuck him up, or does Yancey actually have a wife? Which will make it interesting, because towards the end he seems like a more genuine person as the story goes on. He stops being a liar, he starts being conniving, starts being deceptive. But if this is true that he has a wife, it just adds more layers, adds more spice, makes the story even more compelling. So, I don't know. We'll keep seeing how the story folds, because this guy seems to be revealing deep secret after another. It starts off like he's just a working man, and it turns out, nah, I don't know this shit. I'm just working so this fool could die and I sell his shit, and you end up not wanting to do that. So it's going to be interesting. And then you've got Samuel and Davis. They're fighting. A man is fighting his son for land, and they're fighting dirty. They're trying to say the man is not competent enough to run a ranch, and they want to change, the trustee of the farm or the ranch. So it's going to be interesting. So the question now becomes, is it worth watching? If you want romance that stings, that has betrayal that burns, and then this is a Western that has all that drama all mushed in together with one hell of an emotional deepness to it. Now, All I need from you now is, what about the storyline hook to? Tell me in the comment section. Tell me what you thought about the show, what you hope the show goes to. And thank you for watching or listening, depending on where you're getting this content from. Remember to hit the comment section where comment sections are available. As always, you've been watching the Let's Netflix and Chill podcast with yours, Reese Jansen, and this has been my verdict of Ransom Canyon on Netflix, episode 209. Now that was entertaining. Please let us hang out yet another time. Remember to like and subscribe. Adios, folks. Adios.